Welcome to Waywut, your weekly verbal double take. This is a rabbit hole podcast where a couple of old guys do moderate to shallow dives into various topics, ranging from true crime, paranormal, sports, pop culture, or anything else that we find interesting. We drop episodes every Tuesday and on Fridays if we feel like it. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and TikTok. We appreciate you joining us. And now that we got all this self-promotion stuff out of the way, here we go. Hello! Once again, this is Darrell with Waywut. Here I am with the guy whose favorite thing to watch is alien autopsies. Jason.
Wow.
Yeah, the part that always really kind of freaked me out is how do you find out their immigration status of the corpses before you get to the morgue? I don't know how you do that. It's very weird.
That's a good one there, Darrell.
All right. Well, let's bring this down a notch because I'm going to start things off today with a death rant.
Ooh, all right.
I know I'm old now because I think about dying a lot.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
I've always thought about it to some degree. When I was in my 20s and Harry Potter mania was in full swing, I was there for all of the midnight releases of the books. You know, I would read them twice, like right after I got them. You know, I'd one just to hurry up through it and then the other to read it more, slowly and really absorb it. At the time, one of my biggest concerns was not getting to finish the series, while everybody was waiting for the seventh book. And I remember telling my family that if anything happened to me and I was on life support, they were not to pull the plug until someone read the seventh book to me.
Hey, that's a reasonable request.
I was not going to die without knowing it. After the seventh book came out, that anxiety started to kind of fade away. There wasn't any more unfinished business that I had to be concerned about. After all these years, that feeling's starting to come back. But fortunately, this time it's not because of a book series. Now
what Harry Potter made you switch to that death mode? What about Harry Potter? Other than
the whole series. It was the whole series. I wanted to know how it ended.
Okay, but that didn't made you not want to.
Yeah, maybe not want to die. I was afraid.
I thought you were thinking about dying.
No, I was afraid I was going to die before the book series was done.
Okay, following you now. I'm sorry,
yes.
I misunderstood you.
It's because you're retarded.
A little bit.
Now I'm starting to get that anxiety again because one, I am getting older, but also now I'm married to an amazing woman and my kids are growing up great. I'm happy.
And quickly.
Yeah. Oh, way too quick. Trip is so freaking tall now. He's just like an inch or two from catching up to me.
It won't take long till they're above you.
Yeah. But, the reason is I'm happy and it terrifies me and I don't want to lose it. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm happy now. So something's going to go wrong.
That's the mentality of some serial killers when they do the deed or whatever you want to call it, where they want to keep it just like it is at this moment. So they would always be at 25 years old to them.
Yeah. I even find myself sometimes worrying about really stupid stuff. Like, say, like I die tomorrow. Then aliens show up like 2 months from now with a medicine that restores your youth and cures like all diseases. And I'll tell you now, if that does happen, I will haunt the ever-loving shit out of those aliens forever.
Bad timing. It's very bad timing.
I'd be so pissed.
They're just waiting up in the atmosphere, waiting for you to croak. Thinking of a good time to come down.
I mean, I guess the fear does have a positive impact, though. I'm eating better than I ever have it in my life. I'm eating vegetables, which is, a miracle.
What?
I know. I exercise regularly. And I even attempted to quit vaping. Attempted.
Hey,
When I
you
initially
tried.
wrote this, it was I've begun considering quitting vaping. When I initially wrote this script, and now it's I attempted it. I failed, but I attempted it. So my thoughts are in the wrong place. I mean, well, they're in the right place, but I
You
think in the
tried.
long yeah. I think in the long run, what I really want to say is aliens, I know you're listening. You have to be. We're awesome and fun to listen to. Hook us up already with your stupid youth medicine. And if you don't want to unleash that medicine on human civilization just yet, then just give it to me and my wife.
Hey,
Jason, you don't need it. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
what am I over here?
However, if they do give me 3 doses instead of just 2, I'll hold on to the third one and make my children compete for it when they get older. Be like, which one loves me the most? Since I'm not rich enough to have them fight over an inheritance.
I
All
do
right.
have
Well,
a random question, real quick.
shoot.
You said you were anticipating Harry Potter books coming out. Have there been any other books that you were anticipating coming out as much as that one?
When Stephen King's Dark Tower series was out, I was big
I
on
knew you were
that
going to say
one.
that.
It wasn't quite the same as the Harry Potter mania stuff. Whenever Marvel was in its heyday and we were waiting for Infinity Wars and Endgame, that one, but none of them really quite measured up to Harry Potter. I was like, I need to know how this story ends.
Yeah, that book was, I mean, the whole series was huge. I mean, you would, like you said, you would see people waiting in line like it was Black Friday at the night of the release to get the
That
book.
was me.
That's what I mean. I don't remember another book since then. Maybe Hunger Games, maybe.
I don't think so. I don't
I
think it
mean,
was.
no other series. Lord of the
No,
Rings was
that was
before
in the
all that.
'60s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Game of Thrones was before all that too, if I would
Yeah, Game of
remember.
Thrones isn't done yet, and it's never going to finish. That's one that pisses me off. I've read the books, all the ones
Mm-hmm.
that are available. He's been working on the latest book for like 12 years now.
Holy crap!
He's never going to finish it, and I mean he's like fucking 350 pounds in his late 60s, I think. He's gonna die. There's no way it's going to get done, and I think that's just very selfish of him.
I'm sorry to get you off subject. I just wanted I never asked you that question, so I thought I'd have a good time to ask it.
Yeah. Well, I think my attempt to reach out to the aliens just now does have a very solid chance of working because this is, like I said, this is a great podcast, so they're obviously going to listen.
Duh.
However, if anyone that doesn't have a podcast would ever like to talk to aliens, they should probably just go to New Mexico because aliens seem to love the land of enchantment.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'll be talking about today is aliens in New Mexico.
All right.
Even though they aren't number one in sightings like Washington is, they have some crazy ass stories and they bear being talked about.
Let's hear them.
Well, first off, everyone with a television or some device connected to the internet has heard about the alleged UAP crash in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. I've actually been to the International UFO Museum in Roswell. So I actually know more about it than I ever wanted to know. Essentially that it was there was a crash. Some Air Force officer came out and was like, holy shit, that's a spaceship. And told the newspaper, holy shit, that's a spaceship. And told his bosses. And his bosses come out and they take everything. And they're like, nah, that was a weather balloon. No, that was weird. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do find it super interesting. But generally, everything about Roswell is just about the government covering it up. And when it comes to that, I'm like, duh, no shit. Of course they are. That's what they do.
Why is it always a weather balloon?
Well, in that one's case is because they said it was like the aluminum alloy stuff that they used in the inflatable that caused the reflections and stuff like that and the metallic appearance.
All right.
So that, and you can't pretend like a jet is a UFO. So nobody sees weather balloons. Now, since there is a literal shit ton of information about Roswell, I'm not going to go over it. I just wanted to point out that it has a significant past with UAPs, UFOs, or whatever you want to call them, and it's in New Mexico. So
probably the most popular one.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's there. Boom. All right. Moving on. A year after Roswell, so 1948, in March, a new UFO tale began to circulate. Frank Sully, he was a writer, interviewed two men, Silas Newton and Leo Gebauer, I think that's how you say it, told him a tale about a UAP that crashed in Hart Canyon outside Aztec, New Mexico. According to the men, the spacecraft was 99 feet in diameter and held 16 humanoid alien corpses. Of course, there wasn't anything for them to show them because the military came and took the spaceship away for their research purposes. Go figure.
Yep, that's what they do.
Later, a different writer by the name of J.P. Kahn found the two witnesses, Silas and Leo, in New Mexico selling small metal devices that they called doodlebugs. According to the pair, these small devices were based on alien technology that they recovered from the crash site and could locate oil, gas, and gold.
Oh,
pretty awesome.
Sounds incredible.
Yeah. J.P. Kahn, he got one of them, and it turned out to just be bits of aluminum. In 1953, Leo and Silas were both arrested and convicted of fraud. Or is that just what the government wants us to think? Just saying. You never know. However, that's what a lot of ufologists, the UFO scientist people, I guess, claim was actually the case. That the government just wanted everybody to think that they were frauds because after 2 decades, people were feeling, there were 2 decades of people saying that story's bullshit. And then all the UFO people were just like, no, it's real. And the government has alien bodies and spacecrafts. It's true. They were set up. They were framed. So now, today, you can go visit the crash site in Aztec, New Mexico, where they have a plaque that declares it is the location of the 1948 UFO crash landing.
When was the Area 51 crash line? A year before?
Roswell was 1947. Area 51 is not a crash site. Area 51 is a military base. Military.
But all that
facility,
happened in 47, the year prior to this crash?
And that's in Nevada. It happened. Roswell was 1 year before.
Okay.
I wish I'd known about this place because whenever I did do my road trip to California and went through New Mexico 2 times, and one of those times I went to Roswell, I totally would have hit this place up too. But I didn't know about it until recently.
Because of the cover-up.
Yeah. Well, let's move on from crashes and focus on something that we all know is real. Government secrecy and cover-ups. Dulce Base is an alleged military base that is said to exist near the town of Dulce, New Mexico. All right. Now, before I even get on this, because you've already brought it up, everybody is aware of Area 51, of what its alleged uses are. And we all know that it is an actual place in Nevada where they have these fences with barbed wire and signs all over the place and military personnel that will come grab your ass if you get too close.
Yeah.
But the fact that we all know this, and this has happened to people, makes me always kind of find it a bit more bullshitty. Because if the governments have alien stuff, we're not going to know where it is. It's not going to be just some place where people can decide that hey, let's all charge the gates of Area 51 like they did that one time.
Yeah, it's not going to be right through the front door.
Right. So, according to conspiracy theories, Dulce Base is completely underground beneath the Archuleta Mesa, which is outside of Dulce, New Mexico. And some people began calling that mesa Alien Mountain. So in your face, Mount Shasta and Mount Adams. New Mexico knows how to do it right when they have a freaky landmark.
No confusion there.
Yeah, they're like, hey, that's Alien Mountain, man. Furthermore, this isn't just some run-of-the-mill military base. This base is populated and run jointly by the American shadow government and those little naked gray aliens with the big eyes. They're always naked. Why I don't understand why aliens are naked.
There's no private parts to cover up. You ever seen an alien with nipples?
I just know they're naked and they put things in people's butts, so they're perverts. They're all perverts. According to various UAP, UFO enthusiasts, academics, believers,
scholars,
yeah, whatever they're called, they say this is where all the aliens hole up so that they have easy access to go snag people or animals or whatever for their genetic experiments. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Their HQ.
Yeah, I was like, nifty. Where'd they come up with this idea? Well, like I said, we already Area 51, there's an actual government facility there. And with the extent of my very lazy research methods, it appears that the area around Dulce started getting looked at by all the alien people, ufologists, enthusiasts, I don't know, when the cattle mutilations began. In the mid-70s, a New Mexico state police officer by the name of Gabe Valdez was investigating numerous instances of cattle mutilations near Dulce. He investigated several cases of cattle mutilations that involved removed genitals, tongues, and lymph glands. Valdez also said that his lab technicians found that the animals had been injected with Thorazine as well as an unnamed anticoagulant. He suspected that the anticoagulant was used to help bleed the animals dry. That they
would, all that blood.
They wouldn't have any blood. They'd have no nuts or no hoo-haws, whichever kind it had. No lymph glands, no tongues.
Okay, that makes even less sense now if you're taking the female part, because the male part could be eaten, but I never heard them eat the female part.
You never heard eating pussy? How are you still married?
I'd set that one up for you perfectly.
He is not. He's not privy to my scripts. We do not share our scripts before the show or after. Really, neither one of us know what the other's going to talk about until we start talking about it. We like to keep this shit legit. So that was off the cuff.
That's a pretty good one. Almost as good as the praying mantis joke you had.
So we all know what it means whenever you have a bunch of cows that are getting dissected out in the middle of nowhere, right? Well, Valdez disagreed. He did not believe that aliens were involved in this at all. He believed that it was something terrestrial because of the use of known drugs, the Thorazine, the alleged sightings of unmarked helicopters, as well as the fact that some of the cows would be found with broken legs.
So they couldn't
He
run
said that
away.
he said this supported his theory that there were clamps being put on the cow's legs, and the helicopters would lift the cows up with that to then take them somewhere for those surgical procedures that were being done on them. And sometimes their legs would get broken because I imagine cows are not cool with being lifted in the air with helicopters. Just a guess. So that's right. He thought it was the government doing some crazy bioweapons testing or radiation testing or some sort of other weird thing and covering up. And I can't say I blame him. I read through some of the documents that the FBI has released regarding the cattle mutilations that Valdez was investigating. In one of the documents, it cites that Valdez reached out to the Los Alamos laboratory, the big federal one, to see if he could get their aid in the investigation. They told him that these cows were attacked by predators, like coyotes, which he cites, coyotes do not surgically remove parts of their prey.
Or goes for specific parts.
From what I couldn't see if they had a response to that. If they're just like, really smart coyotes can. The ones the aliens made doctors. Later in his life, Gabe said that he was certain he knew who was behind the cattle mutilations. And on top of that, he even had a good idea on why they were doing it. But he wouldn't say anything because he didn't want to jeopardize the ongoing investigation. And now, I guess we're just waiting on whoever picked it up after he died back in 2011. And that's where that kind of ends. Nobody's running around saying, yep, it's for sure. Government was stealing cows, doing weird things to them, and cutting out a handful of their organs for fun.
How many cows are we talking about here? Are we talking about dozens or hundreds?
I saw various numbers. I saw as few as 30, but as many as like 100 and something. And a lot of the ones were saying like 70 something.
Still a lot to take notice that they're all done the same way.
Yeah.
Okay. Not just 2 or 3.
So you have this outbreak of cattle right. So you have this outbreak of cattle mutilations around the Southwest, sightings of these unmarked helicopters, and then you start seeing these fast-moving lights that people start claiming that they see in the Dulce skies. It still seems like a bit of a leap to say that the government has alien underground base that they hang out with aliens and watch Friends or whatever it is that they do there. And so this is how we kind of make the jump from cattle mutilations to this. In 1979, Paul Bennewitz was a physicist, a businessman, and an alien believer. He claimed to have intercepted electronic signals that appeared to be coming from below ground near Dulce, and the signals were directed straight into the sky. While investigating this radio signal, trying to find its location, see what's going on with it, he would see UFOs in the area where the signal was originating. That was enough to spawn the theory that the government had an underground facility that existed there that was doing something weird. The claim gathered steam through the 80s, and people were like, yeah, they're running it with aliens, and these other famous UFO UAP guys like John Lear and George Clinton Andrews backed him up on it. John Lear went so far as to claim that he had independently confirmed the base's existence through a variety of his sources. I have no idea if those sources were military personnel, squirrels from the local park, or his brother's best friend's cousin's ex-girlfriend's dad.
Very reliable.
It just said sources. Bennewitz himself would interview and investigate UAP encounters, write reports, and also write letters to politicians. In a letter he wrote to a U.S. senator, Bennewitz described an altercation that caused the military to abandon the Dulce Base. So the military wasn't there anymore. Referring to it as the Dulce War, he laid out to his congressman or to the senator, whatever, that person.
That elected official.
Yeah, what he knew about the Dulce Base. He claimed the military made a deal with the aliens to give them the Indian land that was there, access to cattle, and assurances of the alien safety as long as they traded over some alien tech, like atomic-powered spaceships.
He like an even trade?
Yeah, of course. He then says there was an argument over weapons and the military abandoned the base. He claims to have photos of the base. He also claimed that 3 people in Austin, Texas were exposed to radiation from the spaceship that the government got from the aliens. And that since their exposure, the government has been quietly paying their hospital bills as they've recovered. He ends the letter with his concerns that the president is not fully informed about the situation and that he also forwarded a copy of the letter to the president as well.
Dang.
Yeah. About 5 or 6 years after that, he wrote a report called Project Beta. It was a write-up on how the Dulce Base could be successfully attacked. I looked and I looked and I looked and I could not find a copy of this report to read. I don't know if the government successfully squashed it. You know how they have Google in their pocket and they can make things disappear. But I saw so many references to this and things written by people who had read it, but I never could find a copy of it for myself. Unsurprisingly,
get on that dark web.
Yes, I'm not going there. I don't have the computer brains for that.
You just type in darkweb.com and you're good, or
I don't think that's
work there.
No. Actually, you have to have a whole other different kind of browser, and you definitely want a VPN because everybody that's in there knows how to hack and
find out where you are
up in your shit.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly, Bennewitz also had a couple of disturbing mental health incidents. While investigating the alleged alien abduction of Myrna Hansen, Bennewitz had psychologist Leo Sprinkle hypnotize Myrna, get her to regress back, give more details about what happened, so on and so forth. This had to be done over multiple sessions. And when Sprinkle arrived to do the last session, he found Bennewitz armed with a pistol and a rifle, worried that the aliens were about to attack. And he might have been right. We don't know. It's not as crazy as 8 years later, whenever Bennewitz began accusing his wife of being controlled by aliens. He attempted to barricade his house with sandbags to protect himself from the aliens that his wife was on the side of.
No tinfoil?
Well, yeah, I guess it wasn't going to work, and I can't imagine sandbags doing much either. But
different type of alien, maybe.
I guess this incident ended up with him being admitted into a mental hospital for a month. With all that being said, there is some talk about him not being crazy at all. A handful of years later, a UFO guy named William Moore claimed that he fed Bennewitz false information regarding aliens. His goal was to give Bennewitz a mental breakdown. He later said that he confessed what he did to Bennewitz when he went and visited him at the mental hospital. He said that he did, he was giving him false information and gaslighting him or whatever because he was offered incontrovertible evidence of aliens' existence by an officer in the Air Force Office of Special Investigations by the name of Richard Doty. After Bennewitz died, Doty substantiated William Moore's claim, saying he was tasked with hoaxing documents and feeding false information to Bennewitz and other UFO UAP researchers. So he may not have started out crazy and he was just guided there, or maybe he was just never crazy at all and he just appeared that way because of what people were telling him.
Yeah, when people don't listen to you and you keep saying the same thing, it drives you mad.
Yeah. There was some funny stuff written. I mean, like there's a book, and I think Bennewitz had something to do with it, about essentially the military and the aliens going to war, that Dulce War that he talked about. He tried to write a book about what that war entailed, of the U.S. government fighting the aliens over that base. And then I guess the government lost because the military abandoned it. There are still people that go out there trying to find it, but nobody's been able to locate any underground military base yet. And which makes me believe this one more than Area 51, because seriously, if you're gonna hide aliens from people, dig a big hole in the dirt in the desert. Nobody will find it.
True.
And that's where this one ends. After researching all the alien New Mexico stuff, I still stand where I always stand with aliens. And that's with a big, I don't know, because I
haven't seen it with my own eyes yet.
I do find the Roswell stuff interesting. The cattle mutilations are shady as hell, and I stand with Gabe Valdez on this. Government was doing something kooky. The Dulce Base stuff, it really does seem made up. But, then again, maybe that's just what they want us to think.
Yeah, get you quit thinking about it.
Yeah, say, oh, it's bullshit. I'm not going to waste my time on bullshit. In reality, they're all down there going, ha ha ha, put in the next DVD of Friends. So join us next time when Jason, if he isn't too busy hanging out in trailer parks waiting for his turn to be zapped up into a spaceship, and if they don't take him, he'll tell us some stuff that'll make us say, wait, what?
It's the probing. It's the probing that I'm looking forward to.
You do have a sensitive asshole.
I do.
You tell us about way too much.
A couple of times.
I know that about you. Ugh. All right. Hey, well, that's it.
When we talk a lot,
bye, everybody.
You need to find out a whole bunch about me. Later.
I don't want it new. Gross. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for Waywut. If you would, tell your friends or your enemies that they can watch us on YouTube or Rumble. And if you don't want to see our face, or if they don't want to see our faces, you can listen to us on your preferred audio platform. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, you name it, we're probably on there. Please like, review, and comment on whatever platform you joined us on today. We'd appreciate that a ton. Again, just thank you for listening and watching. We hope you'll join us next time. We'll make you say, wait, what?